Good evening, guys. Come on into the show. Come on in. I'm glad that you can join us this Thursday night, although this is a very kind of solemn show. So I want to give you the quick rundown on what's going on in Charlotte-Mecklenburg school system, because it's not only Charlotte-Mecklenburg, it's in school systems all over, actually, have gotten really out of control. And I think tonight I will be able to explain a little bit why from the state level down. So in Charlotte, we've got several cases I want to talk about. First of all, at Olympic High School, this is in Charlotte, a student recently was, the charge document indicates, and the media reports, that a 15-year-old suspect raped a girl, and charges of kidnapping also were in the document. And this suspect was charged and was allowed to play in a football game while he's wearing an ankle monitor just days later, and a real slap in the face to the victim. And as a show of solidarity, the girls volleyball team staged a protest to raise awareness for what they believe, and I do too, is a tremendous injustice. And the girls were suspended. So the girls came out to support this sexual assault victim and ended up being suspended from school. And then we later learned that at Olympic High School, at the same high school, another student committed a felony off campus and was allowed to also play in a football game, also wearing an ankle monitor. Then we have West Charlotte about the same time. Again, in Charlotte-Mecklenburg school system, we have a 15-year-old who reported being raped and did not feel that school officials took her seriously at all. And I'm not sure what actually has been done about that. Then we have the case of Myers Park High School, also in Charlotte, where over a period of time, a series of girls reported being raped and sexually assaulted. And in their words, were shamed by school administrators. I think the Myers Park principal was eventually fired or resigned. And also shamed by the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. They were not taken seriously. So this is repeated slap in the faces to girls who are going to get an education in our public schools. And now finally, the coup de grace, all since school started in the last, 2.5 months, we have Hawthorne Academy. And this is really makes me extremely upset. So we're going to have on Melanie Holland, who is a mom at Hawthorne Academy. First, I'll give you the overview on what happened. Melanie will come on in and join us. So a sophomore was sexually assaulted in the bathroom. And I guess Charlotte-Mecklenburg police, this student confessed to the Charlotte-Mecklenburg police and was charged. And the school said that they conducted their own investigation, did not find that this sophomore girl was credible, and they suspended her. Is that what happened, Melanie?
That's what I understand. My daughter goes to Hopewell, but it was confirmed that, yes, she is still suspended, actually. The police found sufficient enough evidence, from what I understand. The mother has gone on trying to get attention to get the daughter unsuspended, or she's actually a victim, while the perpetrator was free to do whatever, which is incomprehensible. And this, by the way, the girl came forward, ironically, after a Title IX teaching.
Can you tell us what Title IX is and what a teaching like that would look like? Because your background is in this area, correct?
Well, I work with at-risk youth. So that's my background. I work in the youth detention center, volunteer work, but the Title IX is, from what I understand, is about the harassment, specifically around the sexual harassment. And that's what she got teaching on. And then she got suspended for coming forward, which seems to be the pattern with CMS. And not just CMS. I mean, this happens across the nation, but it's really coming to, as we've seen with Loudoun County, but we're seeing it now. It's coming forward in CMS. I think
if it doesn't fit the narrative, right? And so let me give you the material facts, okay? Because I'm just citing 4 instances. We've got Myers Park. Female victims come forward. They feel like they're being shamed by the administration. We've got West Charlotte, a 15-year-old that came forward about a rape and there was credible evidence there. And again, this student did not feel like she was believed or was taken seriously, and the parents didn't either. We have Olympic High School, which is out bleeping rageous. That you've got the football player able to come back onto campus. Clearly, if he's wearing an ankle monitor, right? I mean, there's charges there sufficient to warrant that. And then the girls get suspended for standing in solidarity with this victim, and the boys are allowed to do whatever the hell they want. I mean, this is outrage. What is going on?
Yeah, I want to know where the Me Too movement is. I mean, this is the epitome of what everybody talks about. I mean, I have seen this kind of behavior happen in the past. I've got 4 kids, 2 of whom we've had to file claims against with schools in various districts, and we weren't taken seriously either. But this was years ago. So now we're moving into an age where we're encouraging victims to come forward and feel safe and know that this is what we're expecting of them, and then to turn around and shame them. And for Myers Park, allegedly, what the victims were told was that to look at what would happen to them, to their reputation. So again, you're putting blame on somebody else who is just a victim of that, and then not holding them accountable and being able to play in a football game. And I wonder if I know why that is, but it's outrageous.
Well, it's outrageous, and it's a slap in the face. And look, it is a message. It is a very clear message, and girls are getting it, that you are not safe, right? You're not safe. And, if you're a male, you'll be taken seriously. So I want to show a reaction because, Roger, you just asked a very good question. I have to say, WBT, I'm very happy about their coverage. They've been kind of on it, right, Melanie? I mean, they've been kind of reporting the facts. I know that, trust in the media is an all-time low, but let's give credit, please, where it's due. Shootings and sex assaults and rape. Some students said they're scared to go to school. Melanie, I think it's probably more than some.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And not just the students, the parents.
Parents are terrified. Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't know what to do. You're wondering if this is the day. I mean, genuinely, you're wondering if this is the day when you're going to get a call.
Rebecca, I want to speak about the guns. So the media is reporting 15 only. It's been 25. So 25 collectively guns that have been collected. And I just want to share a story that we received from people that know. This afternoon, maybe it was yesterday, but certainly this afternoon, there was a young man who was suspended, but came to school anyway. And the SRO, thank God for our SROs, the SRO went and said, I'm going to escort this child back to the car and get him the hell out of here. But when he went to the car, he saw a big rucksack in the back of his car and said, hey, what is that? Apparently had a couple of guns and 100 rounds of ammo. And again, if not for the SROs, students would be in great danger, most certainly. So we've got this is not sustainable at all. We know that it's not sustainable. We've asked some legislators to step in, and they're willing to do so. But let me show you. This is a superintendent right here, and this dude is out of his element. His name is Ernest Winston. He's the guy who had Kendi come in, right, and speak.
$25,000. Yep.
At their summer leadership conference. So think about it. Summer leadership conference, you guys, it's hey, we're going to lead you into this year with the things that you absolutely have to know. This is the guy too, Melanie, that's given teachers 5 or 6 equity trainings in a row last year. Students can't read, they can't do math, etc., but he's hammering these equity trainings in.
Yep.
He thinks this is the most important thing.
Which is clearly you see it's not working. And I like to point out, I think I sent you this article this morning, that the commissioner came forward and said, we've given CMS, now just put this in perspective for a second. We've given CMS millions of dollars for security. They've got nothing to show for it. That's what she said. So we want to hold them accountable. One of the board members, Rhonda Cheek, mentioned about how we need metal detectors, that she's presented it before and they were told it was too expensive. So what they could have done was either taken the millions of dollars they were given for security and used it, or they could have taken the $25,000 away from Kendi and put it into metal detectors instead, which is something that we've been asking for a long time. So their priorities are completely off the map. And the other alarming issue is that Winston doesn't listen. He does what he wants to do.
You don't say.
The track record is god awful. I mean, if this were in my job, if I had the track record that he has, I'd be fired, as would anybody else for poor performance.
Yeah, here's what he said today. He's out of his element. As a parent, I understand the concerns many families are sharing about news coverage. Wait a minute. About news coverage. No, about stuff happening. News coverage of alleged incidents of misconduct. It's difficult for me not to give in to the parental instinct of providing information to help others gain a better understanding of situations. With blah, 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 as the leader of the district, I'm bound by law not to disclose confidential information. You know, we're not asking for confidential information. We already have stuff from the media. In fact, it's not confidential when there's a charge sheet and there are arrests. That's public information, Melanie. So we actually have it in the media, to their credit, and as a part of the charging documents. Earlier this year, I requested the creation of a Title IX task force. That task force has been working together to discuss recommended improvements. No, stop it now. I'm going to show you guys a bit of why this is happening. I mean, this is equity in action, except for, as usual with equity, it's the girls that get screwed on this.
Well, there's a big, huge issue as it relates to equity overall, which I think you're going to get into, as far as we have limited what the administration or what the schools are allowed to do, right? So these kids commit these crimes, they're breaking the rules left and right. I mean, as far as I knew when I was in high school, which granted was a while ago, if I got in a fight, I was suspended. And I got in fights. So now we're in a place where you can't, which means you're putting these kids back in school. They're not dealing with the issues, which I've spoken at 2 board meetings myself, as has my family. And I've said, this is not the answer. Redoing the rules and lowering the bar and tweaking numbers so it looks better on paper is clearly not the answer. And I've presented solutions. So it's not just parents sitting back and complaining, it's presenting solutions, but it doesn't fit the map of equity, which I don't think people really understand what that means, what equity means. It sounds all nice and fluffy, but this is what it looks like, where you can do whatever you want and you're tying the hands, like for us at Hopewell, we've got a phenomenal, I can't, and I know I've told you this before, Mrs. Pickard, who's the principal there, is phenomenal. She's the best principal we've ever had. And we've had 3 kids graduate from multiple schools in multiple states. And the staff is great. And the staff cares about the students. And we moved to this area to be in Hopewell because our oldest son thrived there. We've just got 1 left. But even Mrs. Pickard, as wonderful as she is, and the staff as great as they are, they shouldn't have to be put in this position.
No, it's unfair to teachers.
Completely. And it's unfair to the students who are going to learn. They shouldn't be on 2.5-hour lockdowns. Like when you're spending that much time in 2 days, and again, it's not the administration. Pardon?
Yeah, tell us about the lockdown. I apologize. I forgot to bring that up.
There were 2. Well, last week SWAT was there because of the airsoft gun. There were students on the floor while SWAT was looking for them. And again, I want to stress this again, that it is not the Hopewell staff's problem. It's not that Hopewell is a bad school. It's that CMS is severely challenged because you basically got someone who's blind and can't hear, who's walking around trying to run the show. It's failing. Everybody knows that it's failing, but nobody wants to say, hey, you know what? I think it's a good idea if you just resign and let us start over. But so the lockdown was last week. There have been several, and the school's doing what they can in that moment to keep the students safe. But again, they shouldn't even be in that situation. So lockdown then, there was a lockdown yesterday because of the fights. I think there were like 6 fights yesterday. And my daughter's watching this, so she can comment on that too.
Massive fights.
Massive. In multiple locations. And it was massive. And then today there was a lockdown because they were doing the security screenings, which is good to know. But I think it was over an hour that they were locked down. And this is not, how can you learn? How can you learn in this environment? I've got my phone with me all the time, waiting for a text message. And quite honestly, if I'm being vulnerable here, I feel like a bad parent for allowing our daughter to continue to go there. The only reason that she is still going there, because we met with the principal middle of the year or in the summer, sharing these concerns. I said that I was afraid this was going to happen. And knowing her heart and knowing how wonderful she is, and because of ROTC, our daughter's involved in ROTC, we didn't want to leave. And so we're at a position now where we're the school is graciously working with us on her continuing to do ROTC because it's a federally funded program. So she can still attend that and be homeschooled. And we're pulling her out and putting her on an online high school program because it's just not safe.
No,
it's not fair.
It's not, and this whole thing, it's not fair at all to teachers. It's not fair. And what's remarkable is these partisan hacks are saying, wow, there's a teacher shortage and we need more money for Leandro. No, that is a blatant lie. When you disrespect teachers by saying, hey, 80% of the teaching force, they're white. We think they're racist. And students will read better if they do 9 trainings that insults the hell out of them and completely does that. That's one. Number 2, you end up giving raises to people at the DPI that do jack diddly, while the teachers don't get a raise and there's inflation. The bus drivers don't get a raise when there's inflation, but Winston's making $350,000 a year, somewhere thereabouts. This is a slap in the face to teachers. Plus you're making them do this. This is, they're not taking basic care of their employees. And then Melanie, I think there's also a mandate, right? There's a mandate. Teachers are getting ready to walk off because they don't have medical freedom. Many of the teachers have had their vaccination because that's their choice. What they don't like to do, they don't like to show their papers, if you will. And they're standing in solidarity with their other teammates in this. They don't believe that teachers, after all the hours they put in and all they do, should have to be forced to do this. Now we understand too, Melanie, that instead of, having suspensions and expulsions, which is what needs to happen, there is this restorative justice practice. We talked a little early this afternoon. You're like, girl, you got to show me that. And I didn't, because I'm going to unveil it to you now and get your reaction. So I want to explain to you guys levels of stuff. You have 3 things you've got to look at. You've got law, policy, and rule. So everything that we diagnose from the lenses of those things, right? All right. So the policy from the state board, it's their state vision, the state plan. State Board of Ed, they create the policies. The Department of Instruction, they administer the policy. So the responsible party for safety, it happens to lie also with the state. And oh, by the way, I wanted to show you, this is a joke and it's ridiculous. This guy playing politics. This is your state senator. This is how seriously he's taking it yesterday. Did I mess up? I think I did, but you got to see this. When news comes out about the guns, the rapes, the girls being suspended and all this, you've got Jeff Jackson, who is quite unserious. Let me see if I can pull this up. Hang on one second. Sorry. He's very unserious about this and playing politics and not even addressing these poor victims. Hold on.
Yeah, we need his phone number and his email.
Oh, absolutely. So if you guys want to do anything, will you write Senator Jeff Jackson and let him know what the heck's going on in his own backyard? And now Republicans want to talk about education. Folks, bring it. Bring that conversation to me. Let's do that. Challenge accepted. Can everybody on here tonight, you and tell 15 or 20 friends, to tell Senator Jackson what the hell's going on in his own backyard? Could you do that for us?
Yeah. He's lost his mind. I feel like I've said that 17 times today.
If you're a family and your daughter has been raped or your son has been beaten or whatever, and your senator is talking like this, you want to talk about a slap in the face. So I want to share with you guys what the state level down is looking for. This is important. I think you'll see why in a second. Let me hope that I'm getting the right one up. Okay. Yes. Okay. So this is in the state Board of Ed strategy. Okay. So and you will see they're going to require every school and every district to do reporting. I'm going to show you the graph on this. So objective for goal number 1, eliminate opportunity gaps by 2025. What they're saying is this, is that when you have students of color having scores here and then white or Asians here, they want to eliminate those gaps. It's an admirable goal. Okay. This is called equity. Here's what it is. Decrease the number of exclusionary discipline practices by subgroup. Exclusionary means suspending or expulsions. Okay. Metric. Disaggregate student discipline data. Differentiated between in-school suspension, ISS, short-term or long-term. Okay. So they want each subgroup, Asian, white, Hispanic, etc. Action item. Collect short-term suspension data, establish time frame of suspension, collect data on offense codes. Action item, create statewide definitions relating to discipline policy. In other words, disrespect, insubordination, etc. So what they're trying to do is say that you can go in as a student and call, and I know this is happening.
Oh, yeah.
A GDB word and do everything except for punch them in the mouth, and that is to be ignored. Not lying.
Yeah, no, I know.
You know that is, yeah. So action item, gather information on existing restorative justice, ding, ding, ding. That means not doing anything. Practices and reentry toolkits. Now, here's what gets interesting. And here, sadly, warning, it's going to make you mad. All right. Let me show you the graphs that are involved, what they're looking for. So they want every school to report when they do that. And here's what the goal is. Okay. Long-term suspension. So apparently, here's where it is now. They're breaking it down by color, which is racist on his face. And they want this by June 20. They want it going down here. Okay. So they're not saying they have an outcome. They have a reverse quota. They have a limit to what they're going to allow schools to do. And that's why your wonderful principal, try as she may, her hands are tied. Do you see that now? Let me show you the third one. Her hands are tied. People's hands are tied everywhere. Here's the coup de grace. This is crazy. Expulsion. That means rape, whatever. Okay. They have got to be, that means you're expelled from school. You're out, buddy. Right? They're here now. This would be for rape. This is why you see the football players perhaps coming back. We don't know what ethnicity it is being reported that this is involved. We don't know, but it could be here what we're looking at. It would make sense. It could be here what we're looking at, right? It doesn't seem like it's here, all right? But they want here. And so they're doing it by color. We have seen, okay, some fights, etc., and we know, all right, that they're vicious, and it doesn't matter what color the perpetrators are, whatever. This does not need to be done by race. It needs to be done on the basis of keeping students safe. Melanie, what do you think about what I just showed you?
Well, I think, I'm thinking about this example that, again, having 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls, 2 of them got in trouble more than the other 2. They came from the same parents, lived in the same family, same rules, different choices, different personalities, same consequences. I would never think to take 2 of those kids that were in trouble and say, okay, your punishment is not going to be as severe because I want you to be equal with your other 2 siblings. And if Winston parents his kids like this, if he has kids, which I'm wondering if he maybe doesn't, because he doesn't seem to have a good grasp on.
He said he was a parent in that statement.
Okay, well, then that's really confusing. But so as a parent, if he's got more than one kid, I'd like to find out if that's how he parents, that he's going to withhold punishment for the ones that have made choices that warrant a consequence for the sake of making them feel equitable to their siblings. And I'm not saying, because I know some people are going to get upset about this because you mentioned equity, and I think they have a misunderstanding of what it means, or it means different things, right? But as it relates to punishment, what Winston wants is the same outcome. So not equality of a person, he wants equality of the outcome, which is impossible. It's impossible. If I can't have that with my own children, how are we going to have that with an entire school district? And it's not, and also manipulating the numbers. So he has said multiple times, we need to prepare these kids for the future. Okay, if that's the case, as an adult, I have never had anybody say, okay, we're not going to hold you to personal responsibility because this person over here didn't do the same thing and we want you guys equal. Never. You're not preparing the kids for anything.
Right. How can children learn? By the way, the victims we're talking about, the victims happen to be, you can't blame white supremacy because now we do know the data on the victim. They're Black, they're Hispanic, they're white. We've seen a lot of Black victims actually, and they're boys and girls, but they're united in one thing, and that is this. They are the victims of a school system with failed leadership, full of bloviating demagogues that want to do this graph. And they want everybody, by the way, we've covered this a lot, to achieve the same thing as well. They want equal. What is that called? Ladies and gentlemen, is it called communism? Yes, it is.
Sloan, I am, we've been, you and I met over the summer, and I've been knee deep in reading the stuff watching the Zoom meetings, the leadership meetings that Winston has done, looking at their anti-racist action equity plan for teachers and administrators, that's actually what it's called. That's a mouthful. Reading the books that they recommended to the teachers, looking at the curriculum, okay? Everything that they have done has created an atmosphere ripe for this. And then on top of that, you take into account the unnecessary lockdowns that we did. So that's the other reason why we're seeing this rise in crime. And to give you an idea, so I think I told you this morning, I volunteer at the Youth Detention Center on Thursday mornings, and I work with the kids there. There's a huge gang population. There's a huge murder rate that's there for why they're there. Amazing kids. But when I talk to them about what school district our daughter was in, they said, oh, damn. And their face was like this. They even recognize that everything is out of control. They even said that over the last year or two, it's gotten worse. And what's supposed to be done with that? And I know these kids, and these kids, the only reason they're there is because they either committed a violent crime or there was a weapons charge. It wasn't something it's something that they couldn't get away from suspension for, right? Because the law was involved. But those things escalate very quickly. Mm-hmm. If you've got a gun with bullets falling out of a guy's jacket while he's being beat up by 2 or 3 people, yep. And then somebody picks up that gun off the ground, it could have been fired at any second. But they know there's no consequences for that. There's consequences for that, but there's not consequences with the fighting. And the teachers, to say it again, the teachers across the nation, but especially in this district, are working their tails off. Like you said, for little money and little appreciation, and they're dealing with attitudes left and right because there is zero respect, and there's not even an intention to require that of them. you take respect off the table. And of course, they're not going to listen. And not only that, but he's painted them as you don't stand a chance. This has to change before you're going to be successful. And I'm telling you, if I were to sit in the pain that I've lived with, I'd be angry too. If I was constantly reminded of how I was victimized, how my grandmother was, how my mother was, that's not doing them any good. Instead, we need to be raising the bar and saying, you're more than capable of doing this. We're going to require this of you, and we're going to help you along, instead of just going, well, we're just going to fudge the numbers so you look good on paper.
I mean, well, the NAACP has it right. I mean, they pointed out quite rightly that when we talk about the school to prison pipeline, they say that if in 8th grade, a Black child cannot read, is illiterate, that is the greatest predictor of going to prison. Why are we doing all this other stuff? The equity training, are we supposed to believe that if teachers are less racist, that will lead to better reading out scores? That is preposterous. How can children even learn? Look, Black children and white children and Hispanic and Asian and Muslim, whoever it is, they cannot learn like this. This is a no-brainer. So if you want to break the school to prison pipeline, teach the children. I mean, everybody knows you've got to have discipline. Kids crave discipline. They want that. And I think teachers are afraid of students. I think they damn well should be.
Well, yeah, they should, but not even just that, Sloan. You've got, imagine, okay, so we know what Winston has forced them to learn. We know what the messaging has been to those students, not just in the school, but outside of the school. The issue being that, who was it that said there were too many white teachers? Okay.
James Ford did, let's see.
Which is ridiculous.
He's a clown, a total clown.
But the point is that if you're telling these kids, if they're teaching what we know they're teaching in school, which is the critical race theory crap.
Yes.
And most of your teachers are white, according to statistics or whoever, which is irrelevant and, in the grand scheme of things. But you're teaching that they don't like you. They're inherently this. Why are they going to listen anyway? When you're teaching them, when you've got loving teachers who care and are working hard, that are giving the best they can, to then be told that there's something that they're not, and that their best intention isn't good enough, and that it's not pure.
It's disrespectful. I mean, look, the teachers at CMS are being thoroughly, thoroughly disrespected all the way up and down the line. And, there's this gaslighting that's going on between the State Board of Education and Ernest Winston. And quite frankly, most of the school board members, they're tuned out. They forget the reason that they're there. And had they done something before, things would have been a lot better, but they're not. And it's a dumpster fire.
Well, I know there's one that has been fighting, but he's won. I'm not saying that they're not all great. I mean, I talked to another one today she was wonderful. She's got a lot of years in education, but you've got to be able to step forward and make a decision. And I think part of the issue is you got smart people on the board, and one in particular he's incredibly easy to work with. He's incredibly helpful. He helps me, and I'm not even in his district, but the rest of them are following Winston, who we know is completely underqualified.
No, but
it's not an insult, it's a fact.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, children are going to get hurt or killed. We know what happened in Parkland. One of our lovely fans just pointed that out. Parkland had the same restorative justice. And I'll tell you this, it's the state board, but also, I bring this up, Catherine Truitt, she is the administrator of this. I mean, she believes it in her heart. I mean, she says it all the time. She said after a school shooting, thank God for social emotional learning, because that's going to help prevent the next school shooting. Bull S.
Look at the numbers. That's all anybody has to do is look at the numbers. And what do we do about it, Sloan? That's the question, is what do we do about it?
Well, I'll tell you what we did today. So we talked to Representative John Torbett, who is chair of the education committee. And I will tell you that I was very satisfied with his commitment to solving the issue. He talked about perhaps working with the saner people in the school board to get this resolved somehow. And wouldn't it be cool if state funding could be pulled? And let's see how well they would do with that. Let's see how, because look, we're talking about life and death. We're not talking about on the margin here. I mean, not only are students failing, I think it's what, only 30% of students are actually passing or at grade level. Is that what I read?
It's low. It's low. And there's kids that were failing that were passed on to the next grade too.
I mean, these children are better off not in school, period. And like getting a volunteer job at Home Depot or the homeless shelter or whatever, than going to school. They're sitting ducks for violence. It's like, it's really like kind of like a cell block H in there. It sounds like to me. Eric, why are you asking me this? Anyone asking me, how do we get more people to tune in? Please go to work for me and figure out a solution and bring it to me. Because Eric and all of you guys, we've got a fire hose of problems coming at us, right? I mean, we're just trying to, find our way and to solve them. How do you get more people? Eric, I think I'm going to answer this question correctly. Yes, Susan, you answered it. Share with 25 people and then call in tomorrow and say, what did you think of that? Melanie, can you think of another way?
Neighborhood pages. I shared it on our neighborhood page, Facebook page. My friends shared it.
Telegram.
Yep. Stories. Yep. That's another way. I think also sharing what the information is. It is what I'm grateful for are, well, first of all, you, because you started the ball, got me in contact with Suter Conrad, who is amazing.
Amazing.
I love her, and she's got a real heart for the kids. And Stephanie Smith, who's another amazing teacher, but you got the ball rolling because I woke up one day and was like, holy crap, what are we doing? So I appreciate the work that you do. I think that our kids, and I even forgot what the question was, but our kids need to be in an environment where they can learn. And we've got to do what we can do to make that happen. And I think, again, I skipped your question. I don't even know what it was, but.
Well, again, we're just moms doing whatever we can, elevating it to as many people as possible. But what we're talking about now, and I love talking with conservatives sometimes, are like, pull your kids out. That's the best way to do it. No, this is human rights abuses on a massive scale done at the hands of our own government. Hell no, we're not going to turn our back on this. We have a duty and an obligation, all of us, we have a duty and obligation to save these children. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
And we have to show up at the board meetings. That is
Rebecca. Yeah.
And there's a board meeting that's coming up next Tuesday night at 6:00 at the government building in Charlotte. They can contact me if they need to. I've got the address that they can send the request in to speak, even if they don't speak, just to go and show support. Yeah. And not only that, but then the next, on the 17th of November, we've got our town hall, which is that
for the county commission by any chance?
I don't know if it's the county commission or if it's the county commissioner talked about having one. I don't know if it's the same one, but that's going to be, I believe, at Lake Forest Church at 7:00 on the 17th, I think. But I know that at least one of the board members are going to be there, and we need to show up, and we also need to hold them to the fire, because I think what's happening is we've talked about these things. It's not a surprise that this is. It's not like you just woke up one day and are like, surprise, here's what our problem is. We've been telling them this was going to happen, and it has happened. And they've been given solutions. They've been given suggestions. And it was like, I mean, I'm pretty sure they've got headphones in when you're at board meetings. They can't hear anything you're saying, because I've given references and books. And there was a high school, which I think you might find really interesting. Anybody out there, look up Dunbar High School. It was in DC in the 1800s. And this school debunks everything that CRT is teaching. Yes. And it talks about what good leadership and what high expectations,
right?
if a kid can jump 6 feet, you don't say, okay, I'm only going to let you jump 3, right? Because I don't want you to hurt your ankle.
Because your skin color.
Right. That's what an insult. But anyway, so look at Dunbar High School, look at Thomas Sowell. He wrote a fantastic article about it. But at the board meetings, so we're talking about these things at the board meetings, and then now all of a sudden, because there's this bullhorn of news coverage on the school district, it's all like, okay, hey, let's do something about this. Okay, we've been telling you for months that this was going to happen. We've been suggesting metal detectors. We've been telling you CRT is going to create this.
And girls have been complaining about being raped and nothing being done for years at Myers Park High School. And I have to tell you, you know, I hear everything because we're out here doing this stuff. But I'll tell you that a lot of folks say, well, can't the parents do blah, blah, blah? I'm telling you, when you're a parent in that situation, you are blindsided. Remember, not everybody is us. And we need to be very understanding of parents and very understanding of teachers. And not everyone is us, right? They're not going to immediately know what to do.
Right.
And you know, because we've talked about that.
I was there.
Yeah. I mean, we've all, and I was there before. Right. And so, you and I, we need to help hold parents' hand and walk them through this and say, okay, you're going to be okay. We got you. But look, when you are with us, I promise you this, you will never walk alone. I can promise you that. You will never walk alone. So if you're out there and you're hearing this and this has happened to your child or you have questions, you have to contact us, right? At first, you have to contact us because we have a family here. We are a family and we'll help you get through this. And this has really helped a lot of folks. I mean, we've gotten some very disturbing videos over the last actually 48 hours. And with parents who are being told to shut the hell up by school administrators, and they're being victimized. And it's pissing me off actually. So we don't know how we're going to do all this. We're finding lawyers and we will definitely get through all this together.
Yeah. Suda's right. You never leave us alone.
Yeah.
And we have become a bit of a family. And it does help that, because that's where I was at when I talked to you, right? I felt alone and I felt confused and didn't know what I was going to do. But coming to the board meeting, I think that was eye-opening for me. And if parents can make the time to do that, I think they'll really see that they truly aren't alone, and they'll see what the real issues are. And they need to go and not be afraid of what they're going to be called, because
we are way past that, because we're talking about the rapes and the cover up of Black girls and white girls. Yep. This is a biracial problem. This is a child problem. This is something we need to roll up our sleeves and say, we are not going to let you play language games and gaslight, etc. I'm making this announcement. I am going to be doing a parent boot camp as soon as you can get me down there. I want to pack it in with 200 parents and I want to go for it. So we've been talking about doing it for a while. Okay, November 9th. I want to do it before Thanksgiving, and I want to do a kid boot camp too, where we inoculate these children from abuse. We need to teach our children from 10 years old and up what bodily autonomy is, what privacy is. It is wrong to ask questions on surveys. We have got to do this. So girls
won't be able to go to the bathroom without boys in there too. Let's not forget that.
Oh my God. I know we are dealing with this everywhere. Girls are being told, let me tell you something. Girls are being told, we're going to let boys in the bathroom. If that's not suitable for you, you can use the staff bathroom and there'll be male teachers there. But in other words, girls are going to have to share the damn bathroom with either men or boys while they're also being raped in the bathrooms, and it's being ignored. This is bullshit.
Yeah, Sarah was in the bathroom with a boy last week.
Thank you, Eric. If you can give $5, $10, yes, I'm going to pass the can around, the proverbial. Okay, so if you can do that, I'm going to post our website up here. Thank you. So yeah, I mean, I'm telling you right now that there is a war on girls, and this whole transgender movement, it is a war on girls. That's what it amounts to. And it is a war on gay people. Let me tell you why I'm saying that. It's okay to be gay.
Yeah.
You don't have to be transgender. So the transgender movement is trying to also erase gay people, right? It's fine to be gay. You don't have to be transgender. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to erase gay people and women, and we are not going to let it happen.
Yeah, I mean, they can, I guess the point is, like, from my perspective, is you can make whatever decision you want for your life. It may not be my decision, but if that's your decision, but don't force that on my kid, because we're trying to give rights to one group while taking it away from another. And then when those rights are taken and they get upset about it, they're the problem. And I mean, Sarah should be able to go in the bathroom without a boy walking out of the stall. And Rebecca, you're right. There was a boy dressed in a skirt in Virginia who went in a bathroom and raped a girl, and then was sent to another school and did the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, so girls are not safe in the bathroom. So, I mean, we, again, I don't have all the answers, and Melanie, you don't have all the answers, but I do know that we're going to find the answers to this. This is absolutely patently ridiculous. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
Our job here is to expose and then present to you strategies that we think are going to work. Well, tactics, right? But we're coming up. We're getting stronger and stronger. We're coming up with massive strategies. I was at the General Assembly all day for the last 3 days, talking to senators about exactly what was going on and showing them things. I have to tell you, senators have a lot on their plate. So do the representatives, and they do count on us to go in and say, hey, look at what's going on. Here's the evidence of what's going on, right? The middle schools, yeah, I mean, the survey questions they're asking are also absurd. So, you know, children are being groomed. They're being preyed upon while people are sitting there with their thumbs in their ears. Right, Melanie? I mean, I haven't gotten any. I mean, Ernest Winston needs to be fired. Period.
A long time ago. And I think they got to vote on not the personality, which I can't even see that, but it's got to be on performance, because
and not on skin color. And
that's the responsibility. Correct. I mean, he needs to resign, or he needs to be forced to go. I mean, it's based on performance. I don't know the man. I know that he doesn't listen. I do know that. I do know that he's not qualified. I do know that the school has tanked even more since he's come on. I mean, I don't know what more evidence you need.
Call your reps and call your senators. I'm going to put this up again. I hope I can find it from Jeff Jackson. Sounds like a pompous demagogue to me. Let me see if I can find it. It might have pissed me off so much I might have just, I don't know, deleted it. He needs to go. He's sitting up here saying, "Oh yeah, I'll welcome a discussion on education." Let's oblige him with that, shall we? Let me see it. Yeah, I think I got so mad that I might have erased it for a second. But yeah, I mean, call all of your reps. Look, you need to be. We need to be concerned, right? But we need to come with evidence. We have the evidence because WBT's done a wonderful job, I think, of reporting this. Melanie, don't you think they've been fair? And
yeah, and Brett Jensen too is another one who has been, I mean, he jumps all over it. And I think he was the one that broke the story yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, with what was going on at Hopewell. I mean, he's an ally too. So when the reporters get it right, it's helpful.
Yeah, I think, and I think we need to call out, we owe it to people to call out the media when they've been great. And there have been some excellent cases of good reporting. This is another one from this dude. We all have better play offensive against misinformation. This is yesterday when the news is breaking about how many guns? 25 guns and the rapes, etc. We've got 100 counties. Let's make them all count. Let me remove this banner for a second. Show up everywhere in a way that's real, or in your absence, get defined by propaganda.
That there's irony in that he's talking about propaganda.
Yeah, this guy's a poser. I mean, he didn't care about students at all. He didn't care about education. By the way, we pointed out to him that there's pornography in his libraries while he's calling Mark Robinson and basically a black racist for pointing it out and a homophobe and all that. No, Mark is just like any other sane person. He doesn't believe that hardcore pornography, an undeniable visual there.
I've seen it.
It's it's grim. So you've got that in the library. You've got these sexual assaults. I mean, you've got a wild, wild west of schools that are absolutely failing. So.
And it's a social justice camp too. And they're just not, they have to focus on education. I mean, look at the name of what you're trying to do. Education.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, the Virginia is a moment, right? It's a moment where people came together as people, not as Republicans and Democrats. People came together and said, on a pure education platform, no, we're not going to hide our children. We're going to keep our children safe, right? I mean, they voted for two things: education and law and order. And you want to talk about tone deaf? I think Jeff Jackson, those comments were from yesterday. That dude stuck on stupid. I mean, they just got slammed, and his own district is a dumpster fire, right? I mean, you can't make this up. So yeah, get out to your reps. We definitely have a lot of momentum here. We need to point out the facts to real people. People count. I'm going to just end with this. I'm not a fan of going to local school board meetings all the time. I think maybe you put a factotum there to document what's going on, maybe make their presence heard. I think on the night of school board meetings, we need to also have a crew of 100 people who are out in problem districts, knocking on the doors and showing the survey saying, hi, can you believe that kids are being shown this, and then show the pornography, and they're being shown this, because you have the evidence right there. They're being shown this and this. Can you help? We've been shown this and this, but you don't know this. That's
a good idea.
We need to meet people. Right. I mean, going to the school board meeting, yes, but we need to go door to door. We're in an information war, you guys. That's where you have to share this stuff, but you also have to start knocking on door and get face to face with your neighbors. You need to tell what's going on, because the victims and the future victims are going to depend on you to speak for them, because they can't. Okay.
Right.
So, all right. Well, Melanie, thank
you
for sharing your expertise tonight and just kind of weighing in on this. Thank all of you. You're going to share, right? Promise me you'll do that. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Melanie.